Hey, Steve Frankel, welcome to the deal. How are you?
I'm great, Danny. How are you?
I'm good. You just let me know this is your first time on a podcast. I am so honored to have you.
You know
And
what? It's
wow,
it's good to be a virgin again.
yes, hey, you're right. You're right. I'll take whatever I can get. But welcome. Good to see you. Tell me a little bit what's going on in your town in Beverly Hills. How's the market? What's happening? Give us a quick rundown.
Okay, the market, contrary to a lot of people saying this, is still robust. Um, Having a good year in 2024. I just think increasingly that you got to be priced right. It's all about the pricing, and
Yep.
those that come out, the sellers that are smart enough to listen to you and price it right, they're selling.
Yeah, very price sensitive. I'm noticing that too. It also seems like in Beverly Hills and Malibu, there's some big sort of generational estate sales, massive sales that we're seeing. Those haven't stopped. Not a lot of them. There never are a lot of them, but they're
And what's
happening.
really crazy, so this is my 30th year of selling real estate. And if you would have told me, time capsule back, that there would be last year a $200 million sale
Right.
of Paradise Cove,
Jay
and
Z.
this, yeah, well, that was back up. That was 200, but now we have 210 up the
Right.
coast in Malibu. So to have these numbers, um, they were inconceivable many years ago.
Yeah. And Cortazzo saying he's bringing, or is it Kurt? Someone's bringing out 300 million
Yes,
soon.
killing it.
Unbelievable.
So just to give you perspective, in 1997, I had the high sale in my office in Bel-Air on Stradella. It was 4,350, and the office stood up and applauded. Okay,
Wow.
so
Under 10. Way under 10. Under the ULA tax.
under five. So again, it is really fascinating to see the market move where it's moved, and also just to see the type of wealth we have here in California.
For sure. So this brings up an interesting topic. Uh, what would you say, except you just hit on prices are different, but what are the big differences on being a real estate agent and the industry that we're in from the late 90s, early 2000s to now over the last 25, 30 years? What would you say? And of course, prices are huge, but
Well, it's interesting. I would say, price aside, it hasn't changed.
huh,
I think that I always say this: you're not inventing magic or creating magic in real estate. You just need to do it really well. And I think to be successful, if you look at the top agents in town, to be professional, to show up, to be smart, to know the market, all of those things are exactly the same.
yeah. So what do you think about so many new agents that may not have any transactional experience, but they spend a lot of time Instagramming and coming to open houses at $30 million houses, and what do you think about that?
I say that's probably the wrong approach. And good luck to you.
Agreed.
I,
Agreed.
I think, listen, I had a real clear plan in my head. And I will say this to new agents. I urge everyone to look in the mirror, because remember, you're your own company. I work for Coldwell Banker, but whatever company you work for, you're really working for yourself.
Yeah.
So you want to look in the mirror and go, who do I attract? What kind of message am I sending out? Do I know the inventory? Am I smart enough? Those are the things that are really important. I think Instagram
Yeah.
and all that is important for promoting your own listings. But I think all these young agents that are out there and doing this and doing that
Yes.
with the lips, I think that's not going to get you very far.
Yeah.
When I first got in the business, I committed to this business 100%, and I still am committed to it. And I still do the same things, which is interface with clients, taking them to lunch, taking them to dinner, talking about the market. And I urge every young new agent to know the market and to always go to the high end listings. Don't take pictures there, but to understand that once those sell, that you can have a conversation about
Yeah.
a large sale in town that people are interested in.
I think that's right on the money. I would agree 100%. It's like spend your time at the big listing studying what does this listing actually have? Why is it this much? What is the land like? What is the view like? What is the finish like? So when it sells, you can articulate it to clients. So rather than going to the big house to try to pretend that I'm involved and I'm videoing it, go there as an educational experience so that you can talk. That's why I think people would be a lot better off. I agree 100%. That
And
gets
the
me sort
same
of
true in lower markets,
in all price points. Know
in
the
all price
market.
points, exactly, because you want to know when a seller calls you in and says, I want this much because that property down the street got it. And you can say, yes, but that property down the street had a long private drive with a gate and a grassy yard. You need to know your inventory. That's real estate 101.
Yeah, spend more time studying the inventory, understanding the market, studying the contract, the fundamentals. That's what sounds like you've done and continue to do. And I do the same. I'm still always looking and learning, and with the new NAR stuff, figuring out, okay, what are the nuances here? I mean, I think that's it. It's simple. Know the
So
fundamentals.
the other thing I tell people, if you're sitting on your sofa at night watching Netflix, you're not making any business. So it doesn't matter what you're involved in. Church, temple, golf, bike riding, it doesn't matter, but you need to be involved in the community. You need people to meet
Love
you,
it.
to like you on a level where they decide, because California, particularly in Los Angeles, they like to choose an agent who they feel they can communicate with on many different levels and have dinner with them and talk about certain likes that they're involved in. So that is my advice to current agents, new agents, get out there and
Great
be a part
advice.
of the community.
Yeah, so I think I hear you saying, like, find what you're interested in and where you want to be and spend time there. Be authentic to what it is, whether it's golf, whether it's a book club, whether it's a certain charity, whatever it is. Be authentic to yourself. Spend time connecting with people, because that's your best odds of connecting with people that may want to use you someday.
100%.
Yeah, and I think people have missed those. Again, more fundamentals, networking 101 and connecting 101. So talk to me about what's some of the craziest stuff you've ever heard a real estate agent do or say. I'm sure you hear a lot of funny stuff. If you can share the PG stuff, PG-13.
I don't know that it's interesting. I think the usual suspects that we all deal with every day are incredibly professional. And I wouldn't say there's anything that's crazy. What I like is when someone brings me an offer or I write an offer on their property and it's someone who's, and again, the usual suspects are the people that are doing all the business, that they're
Yeah,
deal makers, and you can have fun with them. This is another thing to remember. Treat your fellow comrades, their friendly competitors, with the utmost respect, because
100%.
buyers and sellers drift away. But you want to make sure that, you know, look at us. How many years do we go back? And just be kind to people and be respectful. So I think that's the advice I would give. You had asked me earlier, what's the maybe the funnest thing that ever happened on a showing?
Yeah. Oh,
I
it's
was
a
at
wild
this
or fun thing.
beautiful, huge view property on Sorbonne in Bel-Air, and Diane Keaton came, and I said, Diane, on a clear day you can see forever, nodding to Barbara Streisand, and she started singing it to me. So I thought that was really fun, and I bumped into her last year and reminded her of that, and she laughed. So, and she's fantastic. So I think we always get a thrill when a celebrity comes to our property and is nice, as opposed to "Don't look at me."
Who are some other high profile people you can mention? I know you've dealt with a lot, as we all
I've dealt with a
bump
lot,
elbows.
and one of the nicest and the kindest actresses that I've ever worked with was Jennifer Lawrence. And I remember
Yeah.
when we were doing the transaction, she's so sweet, so down to earth. There were some pieces that were available to purchase outside of the deal. And so we both laid down on the bed in the primary suite. And she's like, is the bed comfortable? And of course, going back to Instagram, all I wanted to do was like, take a picture of something.
Me and Jennifer hanging out.
And so when you get to work with people like that who are smart and caring and punctual, she was all those things. She was
Love it.
amazing.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. I mean, look, some of our high profile clients get a bad rap. Uh, and some of them earned it and some of them didn't. Some of them are very punctual, respectful, considerate. I love it. So talk to me about some big deals. What's the biggest deal and the biggest commission check you've ever seen?
Okay, so actually, one of the biggest deals I did was 2 years ago, and it was actually in the desert. It was in Bighorn.
Oh, okay.
And just to give you perspective, this this deal was magnificent. It was the Hagedon Estate in Bighorn,
Oh,
and it
awesome.
sold for $42 million.
Oof.
And the highest sale before that was Kylie Jenner at the Madison Club at 18 million.
Yeah, those are
So,
huge numbers for the
that
desert.
number in the desert is unheard of.
Yeah.
And a reporter called me afterward and said, you have the highest sale of all time in Riverside County. So
Yeah.
that made me feel good.
There you go.
And it was really incredible. It was on 8 acres and it was 32,000 square feet. And it had two infinity yacht shaped pools. It was amazing. So that was great. One of the other high sales that I've had was in Beverly Park,
Not
where I
bad. Not
sold a
too
double lot.
shabby. Not
Yes,
too shabby.
sold a double lot for 40 million.
Woo.
That was amazing. Um, and I will say this: I've started my career at a company called Fred Sands,
Yeah.
and it merged into
Sands.
Coldwell Banker. And many years ago, Fred chose me to sell a lot of homes. He was speculating in an area called Mulholland Estates. So I
Okay.
sold 5 houses and a lot for him. And I always, it was many years ago, but I always said that was like getting the Academy Award because he chose me out of 2,500 agents that he employed. So
That's
I was
incredible. So this is when you were a newer agent, so
it
to
was
speak.
a long time ago.
That's
And
incredible.
those prices were in the fours.
Of course. So what are some of these commission checks looking like? Can you share that?
Um, well, first of all, I hate sharing that. And I'll tell you why.
I know you do. Everyone
TV
does.
shows. I think those TV shows have really hurt our business, and it's also made people think that it's so easy. Oh, I'm driving in my Rolls Royce, which I do not have, and I'm going to show this property, and you're going to have a ding, and the commission's going to be $1 million too, and
Yeah.
all of that. And
Right.
anybody watching this, and anyone who's in real estate knows this is the most incredibly difficult business. This is not for the faint of heart. And you're
Mm-mm.
not just driving around and ding, ding, here's the commission checks.
Money's just not falling from the sky.
So the largest checks I've received have just been shy of $500,000, which is
Woo,
quite
boy.
wonderful. But
Yeah.
then the majority of my income, I have a great consistent income, and those checks can be 25 to 50, 50 to 75, and
All
they add
price
up very
points.
quickly.
All
So
price
I
points.
I think, as we all know, Danny, having a career in real estate means you are a listing agent.
Yeah.
And I will list $1 million condo and a $20 million home. I'm happy to do.
Right.
Listen, anything that's priced right is a gem,
That's
and
right.
anything that's not priced right is a problem.
Is it
So
Anchor?
call me up. I list everything. Happy to do it. And I'm very fortunate that my sale rate is in the 90%. So everything I list, I sell.
There you go. That means you're not taking a lot of overpriced listings, or you're educating your sellers enough to say, hey, look, if you want to sell, this is what you need to do. There's no magic. If you're that overpriced, doesn't matter who you hire, they're not selling it.
I've walked out of a lot of listings and been escorted out of a lot of listings. And I told them what I think the value of their property is.
They didn't like the truth.
I always follow it, and it sells for exactly what I have told them, with me or without me.
Of course, you know what you're doing. You know what so this is new.
2 sellers in my career sent me emails saying, you know what, I should have listened to you. And a year and a half later, it sold for exactly what I told them.
A year and a half of closing costs and expenses, carrying costs, expenses, etc. So I learned something new today. Not only are you the prince of Betty Lane, you're the king of San Bernardino and Riverside real estate.
Yes, there you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's the king. That's
well, my street's been very good to me. I probably sold over a dozen homes on my street. And
there's only about there's not even that 10 homes on the street.
No. I keep reselling them.
That's great.
I sold one house on my street 4 times.
Oh my God.
Amazing.
That's an interesting question. How many houses have you, is that the record of how many times you've sold the same house? Or do you have
I've sold one house on Franklin by Franklin Canyon.
Yeah.
No, back up. On Franklin by, what's the hiking trail? Runyon. I sold a house there 5 times.
Oh my
it's a
God.
Fantastic house. And I had sold it, listed it, sold it. Then finally kind of some other agent listed it, and a client called me and it came up again. And I said, you know what? I've sold it 4 times. It's a fantastic house. You should come and see it. And she bought it.
I love it. That's 5 times. So your phone should ring soon. I think you're due. Every every 5 to 10 years, we should get another call. Unreal.
Well, the best story I had was a woman who lived on Tower Road, and I met with her, and she said, she's an older lady. She was super nice, and she said, "No, I'm not ready to sell. I'll call you when I'm ready." She called me 13 years later.
I'm ready.
I picked up my phone, and I'm like, "I'm ready. Are you ready?" I came over and listed the property. So I don't mind coming into people's homes, and they just want an evaluation. That's the perfect time. You keep in touch with them. You send them emails and cards and call them, and they will use you when they're ready.
Consistently staying in touch and top of
Yes.
mind and being of service, and all the rest. So talk to me about real estate, being an agent. You were just saying it's not as easy as it looks on TV. What's the reality? What are the most challenging or the worst things or the things you hate most about being an agent? And then after that, I'd like to say, well, what's the other side of that? What's the best part about it?
Okay. The worst part, and I don't do this anymore, and I should, is cold calling or door knocking and those things. They do work. I just have left that behind at this point in my life. But again, it's interfacing with people, and it does work. So I still do open houses, especially in my neighborhood. I'm happy to do it because your neighbors come in and they meet you, and they get your cards, and it's putting a face to a name and all of that. So those are things that I still do. And again, I encourage young agents to door knock, cold call, do all of that. The greatest thing about our business, as you mature in it and you've done a good job for your clients, is the phone does ring and they're ready to sell, and you have this wonderful built-in business that you've created. So that is the best. There's nothing.
Phone's not ringing. Is it broken? My phone has not rung for
Well,
6 months.
like,
I need a new phone.
Is it still working? Oh my gosh. So Danny, tell me what I'm gonna turn this on you.
Okay, interview me.
What is the worst thing you hate about real estate? What's the best thing you hate about real estate?
God, that's a trick question. I'd say the worst thing is that you have to give up a lot of personal time, and people think you have a free schedule, a flexible schedule. But when you're building a business or maintaining a business, often you're on call 24/7, 7 days a week for weeks or months on end. And it gets to be burnout. There's a high probability of burnout and a high intake of stress and anxiety because you're dealing with people at their peak stress in these negotiations, and you're absorbing it all. So that, I think, is the worst part. I'd say the other part that's the worst part is there's no guarantee that you're ever going to get paid. You put in a lot of work and a lot of time and don't get a paycheck often for that work. So that's the worst. The best part, the best part there's no ceiling. There's no ceiling. You can make as much money as you can, as much time and money as you can put into it, you can make. So no one can tell you, oh, you're capped. You get something different every day. So it's always entertaining and engaging. It doesn't get dull. There are moments of it and things that are dull, but I think that would be my favorite thing. It's just like keeps me on my toes. There's lots of different types of people.
I would agree with you. Those are the worst things. And one of the best things I will add to all of this is I have met the most incredible people, and a lot of my clients have become my dear friends. And it's really given me a very rich social life. So that part is incredible.
Yeah, your clients become your friends, and friends become clients. And yes, it's sort of a lifestyle, more than it's a job that you're punching in and out of. Thank you for those questions. I'm going to have to ask myself. So as a realtor, give me a breakdown of like, what do you feel like you do well? What is your secret sauce? What is like Steve Frankel just kills it? This is what he does well.
Okay. I think I always tell the truth. Always. And I laugh because I have a very bad memory. And I think if you don't tell the truth, you have to have a really good memory for what you say.
Yeah.
But I think people really appreciate truth and honesty and integrity. That's it.
Yeah.
People want to work with someone they can trust. They feel comfortable because remember, they're also giving you the key to their home. And that's a great responsibility. So I always try to sit down and especially now in a market that is increasingly price sensitive, I am very clear on what the evaluation of the property should be, how it should be marketed.
Right.
One of the fun things also about real estate that we didn't talk about, once you get a listing, I love that part. I love the photography. I majored in PR at NYU, so I write my own copy.
Yes.
I love all that.
The creative direction.
Podcast, but I might be doing a podcast, Danny, after this. But the idea of doing a video, all of that stuff to me is really fun, and the ability to market the property beautifully is something that it makes me very happy to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So you love the creative side, the marketing side, branding, vision. Yeah, I do too. I really enjoy that as well. So talk to me about, what are some of the biggest challenges you had building your business, and it doesn't have to be just when you started, but through the years, what are some of the biggest challenges and obstacles you've had? And I'd like to hear even today, at this level, what are the challenges that you continue to have or new challenges that may come up?
I think the challenges are always consistent, which is trying to get new business. And then also, no matter how good you are at evaluation, and I always say this, and everyone says this, price is determined by the buyer, not the seller and not the agent. And I say this to my clients. Once you're on the market, you're standalone. People judge your home. It's irrelevant what sold around the corner, all of that. It's your home. People are coming to see it. And I think the biggest challenge is to deliver that message with compassion, but with honesty, to say, this is what the buyers are feeling your house is worth. That's always tough because, listen, we're in sales. We want to deliver only good news. And sometimes you have to deliver truths that don't make, sellers happy. So I think that's a challenge as well.
Yeah, and I'd say that is a big challenge. We are in the business of having tough conversations, and if you're doing your job right, you're not always delivering the best news, especially in transitionary markets or any challenging moments. There's some hard truths that need to be communicated and articulated with empathy. There's an art to it, right? That takes a lot of time, and you don't always get it right. But I feel like a lot of mistakes people make is they don't want to deliver the bad news, and they just compound it and make it worse. So I think that being straightforward and
one other
honest.
thing that I would encourage agents who are listening to this, because again, with bad news or no showings or it's quiet, the most difficult part is to keep in touch with your clients. Send them an email. There hasn't been a showing, but I did this post or it got this many views. So deliver truths and the reality of the marketplace, but also try to touch base with them, because if you disappear on them at the end of your listing, they think you didn't do a good job when in fact you were working for them. You need to communicate.
Great point. That is a great point. And with social media, it has made doing that and staying in touch and showing that you're doing marketing much more easier. I mean, that's a great reminder and a good thing for me to keep in mind, because when you have those quiet listings and you have nothing to report, well, but you did post and you did get 300 views and you did get this. There are things you did. I sent out an e-blast. So it seems like automatic, generic, maybe to us because we do it with every listing. But I think that is a critical skill set that I don't do enough
Go on
of.
to Redfin, go on to Zillow, see how many hits you're getting. Send it to your client. These
Data points.
Views we're getting, people are looking at it. It also gives you ammunition if you're getting all those views and you're not getting showings.
Tells a story.
Price. So you want to build your case and you want them to know that you're working for them and you're trying.
Love it. Great advice. Talk to me. I see a lot of fun artifacts behind you in your office from your travels. So talk to me some fun stuff. What are some of your favorite places you like to travel to?
Okay. Just got back from Edinburgh.
Whoa, that's a big trip.
I pronounced that right, in London. Love going to Israel. I usually go there every 2 or 3 years.
Oh, you go a lot.
Love to travel. So getting back, actually wrapping this into Instagram and promoting yourself.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in posting your lifestyle and who you are, giving yourself a personality. So your travel, your friends and family, and real estate. Because I find agents that just post their listings super boring. And people want a personality behind it. I love to travel. I have a place in New York, so I go there every
In the city or Hamptons?
months.
Or
Yes, in
in the city?
Manhattan. Love that. So get to see some shows, visit friends. As I mentioned earlier, I went to NYU, so I still have dear friends from that time. So that's incredible. Love the city, and I'm a big traveler. I have found you can be very successful and actually more successful if you travel, but the key is keep it short. Long weekends, so you're always available to your clients. But I flew to Edinburgh and London, and we were there for 5 days total.
Ooh, that's
It was
short
great,
for that long.
in and out.
In and out.
No one knew you were gone, but you had this wonderful experience, and I think that that's really important.
Do you feel that when you're out there moving around the world that you're bumping into people, potential business relationships, referrals? Do you feel just by being a part of the world and kind of being out there and doing what our clients do, clients then recognize and connect more to you? How would you, what is your read on
100%.
that?
So another story, years ago, I was on a plane, business class, and next to me was this author. We struck up a conversation, and a year and a half later, he hired me to sell his Brentwood home. There we go.
Where was that flight to? How far?
Business plane ticket paid for itself.
Yeah, where was that flight to? Where were you guys going?
It was a flight to New York.
And you found a Brentwood.
Really dear friends. He passed away. He wrote a
Sorry
book
about that.
called, I'm going to paraphrase, Apples for Kazakhstan, something like that. It was really quite interesting. He was a great guy and had an incredible Mediterranean home off of Tiger Tail and Crestline. Gorgeous street. House was beautiful. And so again, we connected first just on our love of travel.
Yeah.
I read his book, called him up, talked about the book. Those are things that are really important.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was in Norman Lear's house. I didn't have the listing. And I love Norman Lear.
The big one was it Westridge? The big one?
Yes, Westridge. Yeah. And I was reading his book. And he was in the library. And I just couldn't resist an opportunity to meet him, the legend. Before he passed away, I think he was 100 plus. And I walked in, I said, "So nice to meet you. And I'm reading your book." And he said, "Well, what'd you like about it?" And I recited some chapters, and it was great. It was a really wonderful moment.
Well, that's fun. I'm glad you said something, because how many times do you have those moments where you're like, I don't want to bother them, but that is a good moment. Iconic. He's 100 years old.
Don't miss those moments. It wasn't about trying to get the listing.
Of course.
Here is this legend.
He's a legend and 100 years old.
In his library. I'm reading his book.
Yeah.
And came in.
So how about places you haven't been that you'd want to go? If there's a destination that you haven't been to, what would that be? Do you have somewhere?
Oh my gosh.
There's a bunch.
Half the world. Patagonia. Okay. I'd love to go to Argentina. There's just so many places I've yet to go to. Croatia. Although I sold years ago several homes to an actor named Goran Visnjak. He was on ER, the TV show.
Okay.
And he was like the #1 star of Croatia. Super lovely guy. So I need to go and see the country.
You do. So tell me, are you into any podcasts besides mine? But any podcasts or books? Danny Brown only. Are you listening to podcasts? Do you read business books? Are there a couple things that you'd say, hey, I suggest anyone in this business or people in general should?
Well, I always skim LA Business Journal. I always learn something every week. What building is sold? What's going on? So I love skimming that. I love books that are nonfiction. I read 2 books recently that Anderson Cooper wrote. They are fantastic, and I can't recommend them more. One was on the Astor family.
Yes.
And it dealt with not only their wealth and fame, but their real estate holdings in New York, which was unbelievable.
I hear that's incredible.
I loved it so much that I went and read his book about his own family, the Vanderbilts. Also fantastic, and where they came from and how they made it, and just the tales of his life. So can't recommend those books
Yes.
enough. They're easy
American
reads.
history, serious American history in those books. So, do you have any routines? Are you a meditator, a workout person, a bike rider? Is there like a morning routine you like to do?
I'm a big workout person. So I have a trainer come to the house 3 times a week, and I hike 1 day a week. So Sunday mornings I hike, usually at Tree People, or I'll park in the 600 block of Hillcrest and walk all the way to the top and back.
Nice.
That's 3 miles, and
Now
it's
we know where to
pretty
find you.
steep.
We know where to find
You
you.
know, the problem is then I go to Jones on Third and I have blueberry pancakes. But
That's why you do the workout, so you can
exactly.
balance it all
So
out.
I'm a big believer. You got to take care of your body. I don't meditate. Probably should because I'm pretty high strung, but I don't do that. But I work out a lot. I think it's critical. So whatever, again, it's all organic to what you want to do, but you got to do something. You got to get out there, whether it's walking, biking, jujitsu, whatever you love to do, or Pilates, and do it.
Yeah, agree. Whatever it is you like that you're going to do, consistently do it because we need it. The stress and the things we go through on day to day, we need that.
And remember, you need a partner that supports you, but also a partner that you can go home and like scream, "This is what happened today."
Vent, someone to vent
Very
to.
important.
That is
That's
important.
your venting tool. So I hope your wife, is capable of hearing all the mishigas that you have to deal with every day.
Yeah, to a point. Then she maxes out. She's like, done, no more. I don't want to hear anymore. It makes me nuts.
That's my husband. He's like, okay, I've heard it. I heard that story
Enough.
4 times.
Yeah, it's the same type of stories over and over. We just keep going through it, repeating. Anything else you want to share with us? Any other things, words of wisdom?
I do want to share something.
Share it.
For people that are listening, real estate has been the best part of my life. It has given me wonderful opportunities to afford 2 homes, to meet people. It has been my calling, and it has been my great pleasure. And I do wake up every day. This is my 30th year of selling real estate. And every morning, truly, I'm enthusiastic. And I go, what are we doing today? I get into the office with my assistant, Jimmy, who's the best. And like, what's going on?
Jimmy.
What are we doing? And it's just been the ride of a lifetime.
Wow, Jimmy's still with you. That's awesome. He kills
It's
it.
his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Jimmy.
He's been with me 14 years.
Yeah, God. Well, that is awesome to hear you say that because that does emanate from you. And in our industry, it's a rare thing and it's inspiring. I've noticed and watched and studied you my whole career because you go about your business in a certain way. And not only are you honest and knowledgeable, just you can tell that you're serious about what you do. You don't take yourself too serious, but you really enjoy it. You're all in, and it's just a rare thing. So I love hearing that you do feel that way about it because it does seem that way. That's a great way to wrap it up, man. I love it. I'm glad I got you on your first podcast. You're probably going to get hired by CNN or somebody else to go be their new star of their show. But they saw you here first, Steve. This is where it all started. All right, good to see you. You killed. I loved it. Good to see you. We'll see you in the streets soon. All right, great job.